5 foods that help reduce kidney stress and improve function. Have you ever woken up feeling tired after a full night of sleep, noticed puffiness around your eyes, or just felt like your body was quietly struggling without knowing why? Most people brush it off, but your kidneys might be trying to tell you something. Your kidneys filter around 200 liters of blood every single day, and what you eat either helps them or quietly makes it harder. In this video, I am sharing 5 real, easy-to-find foods that genuinely take pressure off your kidneys: cauliflower, egg whites, arugula, bulgur wheat, and red grapes. Let us get into it. So let us start with a vegetable that probably does not get nearly enough credit: cauliflower. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Cauliflower? Really? But stay with me here, because once you understand what this humble vegetable actually does for your kidneys, you will likely look at it very differently the next time you are walking around the supermarket. Here is something worth knowing. Your kidneys have to process everything that comes into your body. Every meal, every snack, every drink. And certain foods, even healthy ones, carry a heavier load than others. Foods that are very high in potassium or phosphorus, for example, can quietly push already tired kidneys to work harder than they should. Over time, that adds up. This is where cauliflower becomes genuinely useful. Cauliflower is naturally low in potassium and phosphorus. That means your kidneys do not have to work overtime to process it. At the same time, it is packed with vitamin C, folate, and fiber. So your body is still getting real nutrition. You are not sacrificing anything. You are simply choosing a food that gives without taking too much in return. There is also something else worth mentioning. Cauliflower contains compounds that support the body's natural ability to reduce internal inflammation. Now, inflammation is one of those things that quietly wears the kidneys down over months and years, often without any obvious signs. So eating foods that help calm that process is genuinely helpful, even if the effect is gradual rather than dramatic. The other thing I really like about cauliflower is how easy it is to use. You can roast it, mash it, stir it into soups, or use it as a rice substitute. It takes on flavor really well, so it never has to feel bland or boring. And you do not need to restructure your entire diet around it. Even adding it to 2 or 3 meals a week is a meaningful step. Eating well for your kidneys does not have to feel like a punishment. Cauliflower is a good reminder of that. Before we get into the first food, I want to hear from you. Are you here because something feels off and your gut is telling you your kidneys need attention? Type 1 in the comments. Or have you already been told your kidneys need support and you are figuring out what to eat? Type 0 instead. Either way, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. There is a lot more practical kidney health content coming that I think you will find genuinely useful. Now, protein is something almost everyone thinks about when it comes to health. But when it comes to your kidneys, the type of protein you choose matters just as much as how much you eat. And that brings us to food number 2, egg whites. Most people know they need protein. It helps the body repair itself, keeps muscles strong, and supports just about every system you have. But here is something that does not get talked about enough. Not all protein is the same, and for your kidneys, that difference really matters. When you eat protein, your body breaks it down and produces waste in the process. That waste has to be filtered out, and it is your kidneys that do that filtering. So if you are eating large amounts of protein that is hard to process, you are essentially asking your kidneys to work harder every single day. For someone whose kidneys are already under stress, that is a significant problem. This is exactly why egg whites deserve a proper look. Egg whites are what nutritionists call a high-quality protein source. What that means in plain terms is that your body can use them very efficiently, which means less waste is produced during digestion. Less waste means less filtering work for your kidneys. It is that straightforward. Now, a lot of people carry old concerns about eggs. For years, there was a lot of worry about cholesterol and whether eggs were doing more harm than good. But that conversation was largely about the yolk, not the white. The egg white itself contains no cholesterol and very little phosphorus, which, as we talked about earlier, is one of the things kidneys can struggle to manage in large amounts. So what you are getting with egg whites is a clean, gentle source of protein that supports your body without adding unnecessary pressure on your kidneys. That is a combination that is genuinely hard to find in everyday foods. In terms of making them part of your week, egg whites are one of the most flexible foods you can work with. Scrambled in the morning, added to a vegetable stir-fry in the evening, or mixed into soups to boost the protein content without changing the flavor. Simple, practical, and easy to keep up over time. Consistency is what actually makes the difference with kidney health. And egg whites make consistency easy. Speaking of foods that quietly work in your favor without demanding much from you, the next one is something you might walk right past in the supermarket without giving it a second thought. Arugula. There is a common assumption that all leafy greens are equally good for you. And in general health terms, greens are absolutely something most of us should be eating more of. But when it comes to kidney health specifically, that assumption needs a closer look. Some of the most popular leafy greens, spinach being a good example, are actually quite high in oxalates and potassium. For most healthy people, that is not a concern. But for kidneys that are already working under pressure, consistently eating large amounts of high oxalate greens can add to the burden rather than ease it. The kidneys have to work harder to process those compounds, and over time that steady extra effort takes a toll. This is where arugula quietly stands apart. Arugula is naturally low in oxalates and potassium compared to many other popular greens. That means it delivers genuine nutritional value without placing that same kind of demand on your kidneys. It is rich in vitamin K, vitamin C, and folate, nutrients that support the body in meaningful ways, while remaining one of the gentler greens your kidneys have to deal with. But there is something else worth mentioning that often gets overlooked. Arugula has natural anti-inflammatory properties. We touched on inflammation earlier when we talked about cauliflower, and it comes up again here for good reason. Chronic low-level inflammation is one of the quiet drivers behind declining kidney function over time. Choosing foods that help the body manage that inflammation is one of the most sensible and sustainable things you can do for long-term kidney health. The other thing that makes arugula worth including in your regular eating is how easy it is to use without any real effort. Toss a handful into a salad, layer it into a sandwich, wilt it slightly into warm pasta, or use it as a fresh base alongside your main meal. It has a slightly peppery flavor that actually adds something to a dish rather than disappearing into the background. You do not need to overhaul your meals. A handful a few times a week is enough to make arugula a genuinely useful part of how you support your kidneys day to day. And if you are someone who enjoys a warm, filling meal that keeps you satisfied without weighing you down, the next food on this list is going to feel like a very welcome option. Bulgur wheat. When most people think about eating for their health, grains are often where things get confusing. There is so much back and forth about carbohydrates, about which grains are good, which ones to avoid, and whether you should be cutting them out altogether. So let us clear that up, at least when it comes to your kidneys. The grains that tend to cause problems are the heavily refined ones. White bread, white rice, processed cereals, foods that have been stripped of most of their natural fiber and nutrients during manufacturing. When you eat these regularly, your blood sugar can spike and dip in ways that put quiet but consistent pressure on your kidneys over time. The kidneys are deeply connected to how your body manages blood sugar, and when that system is repeatedly stressed, the kidneys feel it. Whole grains handle that process very differently. Bulgur wheat is a whole grain that has been used in everyday cooking for a very long time. It is made from cracked wheat that has been partially cooked and dried, which means it is also very quick and simple to prepare at home. No specialist skills needed. You essentially add hot water, wait a few minutes, and it is ready. What makes bulgur wheat particularly suitable for kidney health is its nutritional profile. It is lower in potassium and phosphorus compared to many other whole grains, which, as you now know from earlier in this video, is exactly what you want when you are trying to reduce the workload on your kidneys. It also digests gradually, which means your blood sugar stays much more stable after eating it. That steady, even release of energy is genuinely helpful for kidney function over the long term. In terms of how to use it, bulgur wheat works beautifully as a base for salads, as a side dish alongside vegetables and lean protein, or stirred into soups to make them more filling. It has a mild, slightly nutty flavor that sits comfortably alongside most other ingredients without overpowering anything. The real appeal of bulgur wheat is that it gives you something warm and satisfying while quietly doing right by your kidneys at the same time. That combination of comfort and care is not always easy to find in everyday foods. If this is giving you a clearer picture of how to support your kidneys through everyday food, please hit the like button right now. That one small action helps this information reach someone who is worried about their kidney results, their swelling, their fatigue, and does not know these simple changes even exist. Your like could reach them at exactly the right moment. And to close out this list on a genuinely enjoyable note, the fifth food is one that might actually surprise you because it is something most people already love. After everything we have covered so far, cauliflower, egg whites, arugula, and bulgur wheat, you might be expecting the final food on this list to feel like another sensible but unglamorous choice. So this one might genuinely catch you off guard. Red grapes. Yes, something that actually tastes good, requires zero preparation, and is sitting in most supermarkets right now for a very reasonable price. And before you wonder whether this is too good to be true, let us talk about why red grapes genuinely belong on this list. Red grapes contain a natural compound called resveratrol. Now, without getting too deep into the science, resveratrol is the kind of thing researchers have been paying close attention to for years because of how it interacts with inflammation inside the body. And as we have touched on several times throughout this video, inflammation is one of the quiet, slow-moving forces that wears the kidneys down over time. Anything that helps the body manage that process more effectively is worth paying attention to. Red grapes also contain flavonoids, which are natural plant compounds that help protect cells from the kind of everyday damage that builds up gradually. For your kidneys, which are filtering blood and managing waste around the clock, that kind of cellular protection is genuinely meaningful. On top of that, red grapes are naturally low in sodium and have a high water content, which supports hydration. Keeping the kidneys well hydrated is one of the most fundamental things you can do for them, and foods that contribute to that process alongside your daily water intake make a real difference. But perhaps the most important thing about red grapes in the context of this video is what they represent. Eating for your kidney health does not have to be about restriction or sacrifice. It does not have to mean giving up flavor, enjoyment, or the simple pleasure of reaching for something sweet. Red grapes are proof of that. And when you look back at all 5 foods we have covered today, a clear and simple pattern emerges. None of them are exotic. None of them are expensive or hard to find. Each one works by giving your body genuine nutrition while asking your kidneys to do less heavy lifting in return. That is the thread that connects all 5. Now let us bring everything together and talk about what actually makes the difference over time. So there you have it. 5 real, everyday foods that can genuinely make a difference to how your kidneys feel and function over time. But before you go, I want to take a moment to talk about something that I think matters more than any individual food on this list. Your kidneys did not get stressed overnight, and they will not recover overnight either. What actually moves the needle is the quiet, steady accumulation of small good choices made regularly over weeks and months. Not a dramatic overhaul, not a strict plan that feels impossible to stick to, just small, sensible shifts that your body can actually benefit from over the long term. Cauliflower gives your kidneys real nutrition without the heavy processing burden. Egg whites offer your body the protein it needs without the waste that harder proteins leave behind. Arugula brings genuine nutritional value while keeping oxalate and potassium levels low. Bulgur wheat steadies your blood sugar and keeps your kidneys from dealing with the fallout of refined grains. And red grapes remind you that eating well for your health does not have to come at the cost of enjoyment. Each of these foods works in a different way, but they all share the same underlying quality. They give your body what it needs while making life easier for your kidneys rather than harder. You do not need to add all 5 at once. Pick one that feels natural to you right now. Maybe it is tossing some arugula into your next meal, or swapping your usual grain for bulgur wheat this week. One small step is enough to start, and starting is always the hardest part. Your kidneys work quietly for you every single day without asking for anything in return. The least we can do is give them a little support through the everyday choices that are well within reach. If you found this video helpful, it would mean a lot if you gave it a like. It genuinely helps more people find this kind of content when they need it most. And if you have a question, or if there is a topic you would love to see covered, drop it in the comments below. I read them, and I do take note. And if you are not subscribed yet, now is a good time. There is plenty more to come that I think you will find just as useful as what we covered today. Thank you for watching. Take care of yourself, and I will see you in the next one.